Hello and welcome back to another It's Bringer video. Today we finally tackled the big one, the product zomboid build 42 positive trait tier list. One quick disclaimer I do want to make before we jump in here. You know I don't do long intros. I'm not going to be using anything or any information from my previous build 41 tier list as a reference. The game has really changed fundamentally, and the way I think about the game has changed a little bit as well. So let's just jump into it. Don't hold build 41 stuff against me. I've changed a lot of my opinions, so let's go. Let's talk about Speed Demon. I swear by Speed Demon. I've always sweared by it, and in build 41 I find it even more important. The towing mechanics have changed a little bit, and it kind of makes it a must-have. And if you don't take Speed Demon, you're pretty much asking to lose your run surrounded by a giant horde of Zeds as you drive through the grass at 5 miles per hour. You really can't afford to not take this trait. The only downside is that it does make more noise when you reverse, but I don't see that as a big negative. Artisan, I don't see a big enough use for glassmaking at the moment or pottery to make this really worth even 2 points. I just don't see any value. I'm going to say it's probably awful. Maybe not never. I mean, there is some niche use, right? If you're doing a wilderness run or an Iron Man challenge, it could be useful. Or if you have your loot settings super, super low. Cat's eyes. Yeah. This might be the most important trait in build 42. It's even more important than Speed Demon. The reason for this is that while the new lighting changes are absolutely beautiful, they do make the night extremely dark and rooms are extremely dark. And this trait will actually save your life sometimes. Because in the dark, your vision radius is remarkably limited. Combined with the possibility of being tired, you can be bit pretty much before you even see the Zed behind you. Dexterous is one of the best traits you can ever take on a character. We basically have 3 god traits in a row here. You need to carry so many different things in build 42, especially for crafting, and some very heavy things which take a lot of time to transfer. So being able to transfer items more quickly is a massive time gain. You'll also be able to pull out your gun faster, which is very nice, could save your life, and climb ropes if you do that. I don't know why people do. I've never done the rope climbing. I don't know if it's useful. Who knows? That's just not my thing. I don't do bases a lot. In single player, I could see some arguments for not using it, but in multiplayer, you must have this. Fast reader. If you have watched any of my other videos, hint, you should, and also like and subscribe, thank you, then you know I hate wasting my IRL time with tedious chores or boring actions. So I always play with fast reader, but I am going to finally not put it in excellent because of one change. They actually made reading glasses speed up your reading time and sitting on the ground now in build 42.15.2. So there is a little bit of a way to counteract the slow speed of reading. This is a very positive change that I'm really happy to see. In multiplayer though, without the ability to speed up time, it is basically critical you take fast reader unless your server has sped up reading by a lot. That is going to be very dependent on you. Either way, it's a very excellent trait to have. Gardener, never. It's awful. I do not value farming at all, and I never really have valued farming. I especially don't value farming levels. All they really do is let you see things about your crop and increase your yield. But why even farm, to be honest? Like, just grab a bunch of fishing nets, throw in a bunch of meat, and GG, you have more food you could ever need, right? Plus, the farming mechanics in build 42 make this even worse, as they made farming so complicated and annoying and tedious. I mean, maybe not that complicated, but I just don't like the changes at all, so I don't value the farming levels. In multiplayer, you might as well not even try farm. Your plants will just rot while you are offline. Inventive. This is probably my favorite trait from build 42, of the new traits. Probably my favorite. This is such a cool idea, and I love how they did it. What this does is allow you to learn recipes and craft things at one level lower. This includes generators, so you only ever need level 2 electrical to operate a generator. You don't need to hunt down magazines ever again, right? That's such a great change, since with the new literature changes, magazines can be a bit trickier to find. This is even more amazing in multiplayer, since magazines are significantly harder to get. So I really love this. I think Inventiveness is a great trait. You're going to learn a lot of recipes early, which is going to make all of your early skill grinds much easier. Light Eater. I just can't see it. I can't see that when you'd ever want this. It's just not worth the points. Look, for 2 points, you get Dexterous, Cat's Eyes. You're saying 2 points for Light Eater. It is not equal. Food is super easy to get in build 42 as well. They made it a little harder. It's still very easy. You could loot an entire Gigamart and never kill a single zombie. I mean, recently I cleared the Moldraw police station with 0 kills, and I did it in about 15 minutes. Like, it's very simple to get rid of zombies, right? And a whole Gigamart play has enough food for months. For multiplayer, there's a use here probably, but I still don't value it for 2 points. There's so many better things you could take. Low Thirst. A week ago, I would have said this was very niche. Now I'm saying it is probably the worst trait in the game. It is possibly a negative trait in disguise. Why? Because one of my very brilliant commenters told me recently that with the new liquid mechanics, you can combine alcohol, milk, and juice to basically have a god drink that removes all panic, stress, and unhappiness at the same time. You can also throw in a little coffee or cola, and you'll actually reduce your fatigue, your need to sleep as well, which is insane. So with the new liquid mechanics, you can do some really crazy stuff, and low thirst actually makes it worse because you don't drink as often, so you don't get the effects as often. Mason. I find masonry to be remarkably easy to level, to be honest. So I don't think +2 is going to really help you. The XP boost is good. So if you do plan to do some masonry, it's an okay pick. Combined with the book XP multipliers, it does have some niche use, but I'm not even going to put it in niche at this point. The thing is that stones are so easy to get, right? You just walk around, find some large stones in the forest, boom, knock those into 10 normal stones, boom, create some stone blocks. It's also super AFK. Just throw a ton of stones in like containers or on the ground, and then you can just AFK it. Like you need to take a 5-minute break. Okay, great. AFK your masonry while you're gone, right? It's super nice. And I do a lot of the AFK stuff in multiplayer as well. Outdoorsy. In the past, I really overvalued outdoorsy, I think. I'm actually going to put it in okay. I think it's a great take. You're not really going to hurt yourself by taking outdoorsman or outdoorsy, but I don't think it's 100% necessary. There are so many ways to avoid like the rain, and recovering from a cold is super easy. I want to say this is like more important in speedruns or multiplayer where your clothes and the weather can be a lot more unpredictable, because in speedruns, we also need to spend a lot of time outside, which means we do get colds and we do starve the entire time. So we take a lot of damage since we have thirst issues. So it is a bit better in your speedruns. Just like a few other traits, Wakeful. With the new like longer days, I'm so conflicted on this trait. I'm going to throw it in niche. Okay. I'm starting to lean really heavily against the wakeful at the moment. With the new darkness levels, I really don't recommend ever fighting at night. Like never fight at night. It's super dangerous. You're going to catch an early death. I would say this isn't bad at all, but I can't say it's like a good trait, right? I got to put it in niche. Maybe you have a use for it. Maybe there's some combination of traits you can do. Like I don't like the combinations of traits, and I'm not using them. Like, I know you can take wakeful with like restful sleeper, but they're gonna fix that bug. They're gonna fix that. Just like the agoraphobic, claustrophobic thing, they're gonna fix it. So I'm not gonna use that as like an idea of how to rank wakeful, because I know they're gonna fix those bugs, right? Just like the caffeine pill bug, where it reduced all your tiredness instantly, right? I knew they were gonna fix that. So I never used that as an idea for ranking wakeful. I just think you already have enough time during the day. You don't need to stay awake longer. It's better to just go home, do your AFK stuff, and then sleep when you're tired, or just grab a beer and fall asleep sooner, right? I don't think the extra wakeful time, I think it's almost a negative, because there's not enough to do at night. If you get too tired too easily, maybe you take it, right? Maybe it helps you. Definitely always try to keep caffeine pills, coffee, or tea on you. You can just eat the coffee and tea, by the way. You don't actually need to make it into a drink. Also, cola now reduces your tiredness by a little bit, so in a pinch, it is an option. Whittler. I can't really put much value on carving. It's not that I think the skill is worthless, but I think that's just super easy to level, right? I'll put it in bad. It's not worth 2 points. I'm sorry. It's just the same as masonry. It's bad. These skills are so easy to level. You're not going to waste 2 points on this trait. You just go pick up some sticks and some planks and you craft it, right? It's a bad trait. Don't take it. Crafty? Oh yeah. I'm going to love crafty. Come on. If there's anything that's more me coded, it's crafty. I love XP bonuses, because when you start adding other multipliers, you get the crafty XP bonus. Fast learner. You get a book. You get some extra skills in that. You got some crazy XP bonuses going off on each other. You can level stuff really fast. And I hate grinding. I hate any type of time that I spend grinding in a game instead of doing things that are fun in a game. I despise anything tedious. I'm a speedrunner. I want to go fast, and I like playing zomboid fast, and I always play it fast. The only time I wouldn't take this if I was doing like a kill speedrun, right? Or some kind of kill challenge where you don't actually need to do crafting. So in multiplayer, you could maybe not take this, right? Iron Gut. God, it's a terrible trait. This is worse than low thirst. This is the worst trait, I think, maybe out right now. Number 1, just stop eating rotting food and dirty water. And number 2, you actually can 100% eat rotting food and drink dirty water with no problem. You just can't do too much, right? Like, I have a friend in multiplayer. He spent like 2 months only drinking dirty water, never had any problems with it, right? And I can eat rotted food constantly in build 42 and never get sick. So just tell me, what value could this ever have? Like, this is one of those ones where I can't even think of a niche use for Iron Gut. Keen Cook. I don't really value cooking. I have no value of cooking, and cooking is crazy easy to level. Like, even in multiplayer, you can get tons of cooking XP so easily. Magazines are hard to find sometimes, sure. So you might want certain cooking recipes, and you may never find that magazine. So this might be a time where you take Keen Cook. Like, come on. Why do you need these special recipes? Just cook a stir fry, a stew, like a normal person. Like, just make some eggs and eat the eggs. Actually, okay, little hint here for you guys who are still watching. You can level cooking from 1 to 10, assuming you start with the right traits, obviously with Keen Cook, right? And as a chef, you can actually get max cooking with 10 eggs, I think is the math I did. So you only need 11 boxes of eggs, you'll have max cooking. It's super easy. And you don't even worry about burning it, because it doesn't matter. Like, you still get the same amount of XP whether you burn something or whether you don't burn something, which I actually think is really silly. That's really silly, right? I think if you burn, I think you should get like an XP tick, and then if it burns, you get XP removed or something. I don't think you should get equal XP when you fail to cook something, right? I think that's really silly. I know in one of our speedruns, the cake percent, where you create a cake as fast as possible, the world record's like 1 minute, 20 seconds or something, but that speedrun has a caveat that you have to eat the cake and it can't be burnt. So I think that's like a way, maybe they can change cooking to not allow burnt food. Vehicle knowledge, pretty much a must-have. Pretty much a must-have. Yep, it's pretty much 100% necessary. Why is that? Well, there's nothing more frustrating in this game for me than not being able to do the most basic of tasks without a magazine. They're way too dependent on this magazine system. Now, they did make some changes to it, which I'll talk about in a moment, but I still think the magazine system is a little annoying. Now, I recommend this as a must-have because of how Product Example handles mechanics, right? You should not need a magazine to change tires or uninstall stuff. It's not that hard. Like, I would understand it maybe for like fixing a battery, fixing an engine, right? Or like fixing it back, not just taking it out, right? Like maybe taking out a gas tank. That's probably complicated, right? But not to change the tires. Come on, bro. In multiplayer, this is 1000% a must-have. Since the magazines can be really rare. Adrenaline junkie. Ugh, this is awful. Like, okay, sure, they nerfed the points 4, which is really good, but it's still 4 is still too much for this. For the points it costs, I really cannot recommend anyone take this trait. I just don't think it's worth it. It means like you also can't have a claustrophobic or a agoraphobic, which are like must-have traits at the moment. They're some of the best traits in the game because panic has become so easy to manage. All you need is 10 milliliters of beer. That bug still exists. It will fix all your panic. And even if they fix that bug, you just mix in about 10% alcohol with your water bottle and your panic will drop so often that you'll always be able to sleep inside or outside, right? Also, that one bug where you speed up time and just sit there for like 10 hours, you'll eventually be able to sleep again. So really interesting how these bugs are working lately. And these are like the panic bugs. They're very complicated in Zomboid. So we're going to move on from Adrenaline Junkie. All it does is give you a minor speed gain. Speedrunners do usually take it, but only if we have extra points, which is rare. All right, so let's go to Angler. This is terrible. This is an awful trait. I'll put it in awful, not never, because it does have a small use. Fishing got much, much, much harder in Build 42 and much slower with the removal of spearfishing and with the new minigame being added. Now, the minigame has been improved a lot since Build 42 first came out. You can now actually like speed up time while you're fishing and it'll automatically go back to normal time when you have a fish. So that's pretty chill, right? That's pretty nice. But with the farming changes also becoming much harder, I do value fishing a bit more than I did in Build 41. It's very niche since fishing nets are super OP in Build 42. Even with the bug fixes, they're still very strong. Now, one neat little fact you might not know is you can actually take this with the angler profession to start with for fishing. That's a really high level and it's going to be credible in the speed runs. You know, speaking of that's an interesting thing. Why is there some things that you can take? Like you can't take vehicle knowledge with them as a mechanic, but you can take angler as a fisherman. There's certain, you can take handy as a carpenter. I always wondered why these interactions were never like made standardized, right? They're not standardized. It's very odd. Baseball player. This is going to be one of the most niche things in my opinion. And that's actually because I recently changed the way I think about baseball player. Okay, I'll say this. I'll start with this. For 4 points, I really don't think a single level of long blunt is worth it at all. It's not worth it. Yeah, it has other benefits. It's not a good trade, okay? And long blunt is very weak in Build 42 due to the muscle strain. I think short blunt or short blade are actually the top 2 melee builds at the moment. Maybe axes is pretty good, but I still actually I love short blade right now. One unique multiplayer niche for this though, which is why I put it in niche, is that most servers start you with a starter pack. And that starter pack has a hammer and a baseball bat. Actually, some speedruns take this because we start in the school or near the school, especially in Riverside, right? And that means we have a baseball bat automatically in the school. It's really nice in the speedruns where you don't have a guaranteed weapon like in Rosewood. Brave, it's okay. I'm gonna put it in okay. I mean, I think it's a poor choice for sure, especially for 4 points. Again, I make this decision because number one is you just live longer. Your panic becomes less and less of an issue. In multiplayer, panic is even less of an issue as well. And again, the liquid mechanics, you just mix in alcohol with your water and everything, all your problems go away, right? And on top of that, if you take brave, you cannot take cowardly, claustrophobic, or agoraphobic, which are all S tier traits in my opinion. Like they're all amazing, easy to play around. And yeah, I think brave is definitely a very questionable trait unless you really, really hate panic. I'm gonna put eagle-eyed in never. Your vision radius gets so big, you will never be able to speed up walk to, like through hordes at all. We call it threading the needle, where a zombie can be visible to you, but not detected by your character. So you're still able to speed up time around that zombie. But with this, your radius gets bigger. so your character detects zombies more easily, and you cannot speed up time. So you're going to basically lose so much time in single player from this. It's a massive time loss that I don't find acceptable in single player. In multiplayer, it has a little more niche value since you can't speed up time, right? I'm going to put it in niche. No, I'm going to have to put it in never. This is a bad trait. It's a bad trait, y'all. This is an awful trait. First aider. God. How on God's green earth has Indie Stone still not found a way to make first aid useful? I'm going to actually crash out about first aid. This has got to be the most worthless skill in the game for like the last 11 years. 4 points for first aider, bro. Compare that to like the graceful or like something. Like, Jesus, this is an awful trait. You know, first aid is worthless because you just shouldn't get hurt. And number two, even if you get hurt, you don't need first aid to heal yourself. Maybe if the health mechanics were more complicated, please God, Indie Stone, don't make health more complicated. Everything is more complicated now. I am just shocked by how bad first aid is. Has anyone ever found a use for this skill? Speeding up time. You can just speed up time. It doesn't matter if it takes a month to heal, you can just sit in a room for a month and speed up time. It takes no time at all to heal. So is there a use? Maybe in multiplayer there's a use? I don't know. But multiplayer, you could just die and make a new character, right? Like, I don't know why you'd even wait for an injury to heal. I would just instantly just end the character and make a new one. Okay, we got graceful. Makes less noise while moving. It's okay. Graceful's pretty okay. There's also a niceness to it where you shoulder bump zombies and you have a smaller chance to trip, which I think is pretty okay, right? And only 4 points, I think it's a decent skill for sure. Decent skill for sure. Now, one thing that is interesting about stealth and zomboid, though, is that we're going to go to this actually right now. And as this is kind of part of graceful, is why inconspicuous is awful. Not a never, an awful trait. Is that zomboid has two types of stealth: visual stealth and audio stealth. Visual stealth does not work. Also, if you think zombies can't see you in the fog, they can see you in the fog. Their pathing does not care about like the fog at all. It will see you through everything, even like thunder sounds, right? Zombies don't actually get attracted by the sounds that much. They're all gonna go to you instantly. And if a zombie sees you for a split second, that zombie knows you're there. You will never visually stealth past zombies if they're looking at you, right? Which is actually very realistic, and I'm okay with that. But audio stealth, oh, that's a very big deal in Zomboid. So I think Graceful definitely has some value because of that for sure. And I like stealth in Zomboid. Stealth has a great use, especially in some speedruns and multiplayer. Herbalist, I've been putting this in must-have a lot. I kind of think it's must-have, right? I'll put it in excellent. I'll put it above everything else except fast reader. Now, here's why I put Herbalist in excellent. I consider it almost a must-have, but not quite there. Food is much harder in build 42. I've said this before, right? Maybe still not that hard, but it is harder. And being able to identify the foods you can eat is incredibly important. Now, of course, you can find the magazine. Again, I'm telling you, magazines are much harder to find, okay? So you can't rely on magazines anymore. For multiplayer, I think this is 100% a must-have. Foraging plays a huge role in a lot of your new crafting skills and your food acquisition, right? You need to build a forage and you need to build a forage well, and this is a great trait to have for it. Now let's go to nutritionist. I am so sad that this is still 4 points. Actually, I'm going to say that this is probably one of my favorite traits in the entire game. I think it's so much fun to see the calories and nutrients in food and like stuff I cook, right? But 4 points is insane. Like, you can 100% never afford to take this trait compared to the other 4 point traits, right? You can never take this. I think it should be like a 0 point trait or a 1 point trait or just built into the game, honestly. It's such a cool thing to have. It's so much fun in multiplayer and single player. And I'm so sad I never get to play with it. I never get to play with nutritionists because it's just not the efficient thing to do. Organized, all terrible trait. I'll say bad. I'll say bad. I would have put it in awful in build 41, but build 42, maybe I value storage a little bit more than before. I don't value it much at all, but a little bit more than before. Because here's why. Why do you need storage? You don't need storage. The game has infinite storage built into it. It's called the floor. Most crates at most can maybe hold like 60, maybe 70. The floor can hold 50. The floor does not get reduced by disorganized or organized, right? The floor is neutral. Just throw everything on the floor. It's so much easier than dealing with like random containers and forgetting where stuff is. I mean, I just don't like it. I don't like it. I just put everything on the floor. It's that easy, right? Yeah, moving on from that. In multiplayer, maybe you need it a little bit more, but if you're really worried about storage, just create an alt with organized whose job is to put stuff in the storage, right? Resilient, terrible trait, awful trait, garbage. Like, this has no benefit to your character. Oh, you become a zombie slower. Okay, you're still a zombie. I mean, I actually stand by the build 41 here. You're still a zombie. Like, once you're infected, why keep playing? It's not fun. Drink the bleach, man. Drink the bleach. Also, like, it says, oh, you don't get colds as easily. Just don't get a cold. Pretty easy. Also, if you get a cold, you can cure it in like a single day. Moving on from that, like, there's not much to say about this. It's just a bad trait. Runner. I still value Runner a lot. It's a really, really good trait, especially with the product zomboid map getting bigger. It becomes even more valuable, right? But there is a caveat to this. If you wanted to argue against taking Runner, one really good argument is get a car, bro. Getting a car is like the easiest thing in the world to do. Like, it's so easy. Just get a car. But it is still a good trait, especially in multiplayer or speedruns. You 100% must have Runner. Without the FF Walk to speed up, you're so slow in multiplayer. It's painfully slow. So I would say multiplayer or speedruns, you must take Runner at all times for that extra movement speed. This is so sad, because I love tailoring speedruns. Sower's awful. It's a terrible trait. +1 tailoring for 4 points. 4 points, yo. 4 is crazy. And tailoring is already a nearly worthless skill. Like, all tailoring's really gonna do is let you attach stuff to backpacks and you can sew things. Literally, you can just make armor. You don't need that. Like, if you're relying on protection or clothing to save yourself from zombies, you're already going to die eventually, right? You're just delaying the inevitable with protection. Now, I will say, being able to get level 4 tailoring on spawn with the new build 42 occupation, though, is so fucking good. Tailoring speedruns are probably my favorite speedrun in Product Zomboid, and they're so much fun and so dynamic, and I'm so excited about build 42 tailoring runs. I think they might actually pop off. They're just so unique, you know? If you've never seen my tailoring run, you really should check it out. It is such a fun run to do, and it's got so many different things you must balance at the same time. It's probably like one of the purest Product Zomboid speedruns as well. Gymnast, I love Gymnast. I'll say to this day, Gymnast is still underrated. Now, you might be thinking, you might be watching this video and thinking, no, it's not. Everyone loves Gymnast. You don't know, man. You don't know people. You don't know some of the stuff I see online about people, because they underrate Nimble so much. I would say Nimble is the greatest combat skill in the entire game of Product Zomboid. It is the most important one that you have. I almost always take Gymnast, because Nimble's going to affect my combat movement speed. So while I'm actually swinging that axe, you know, that business, I'm backing up faster. Zombies are running up on me, grabbing at me, biting at me, you know, putting little teeth in me. You're going to be backing up faster than the zombies, which even makes gun combat better, right? There are very, very few circumstances where you do not take Gymnast on every single build, and that circumstance is if you're going 100% gun. Then, yeah, you probably could get away with not having Nimble. Same for Runner too. If you have guns, you can do a lot of stuff that is not the same, you know, especially with how strong guns are in Product Zomboid build 42. Blacksmith, I put in niche, actually the most niche, because of this. It's a very, very late game activity that you do not need to do. You can just not do blacksmithing and you're fine, right? You can just loot everything you need. But if you want to do blacksmithing, then this is basically a must-have trait. You need so many magazines for blacksmithing, you will struggle on single player to find them. A lot. And in multiplayer, 100% a must-have. The magazines will be impossible to find. So always take this if you ever plan to do blacksmithing. One option is to have a blacksmith character that has this and is an alt that just sits at your base and crafts your metal for you. That's a very nice trick in multiplayer. Brawler. This is an interesting trait. The cost is very high, 6 points. And I do not value axes like nearly as much as I have in the past. I think they're significantly weaker. Long blunt is useful in certain circumstance, as I mentioned with baseball player. So I'm not going to reiterate everything. It's a very niche trait, but it's a little bit too good to be in niche. Fast healer, I'm going to put it in awful. 6 points is a lot of points, but it does actually do a little bit in build 42. It does make your healing faster, right? I mean, I've proven that multiple times, but it's really simple. Do not get hurt and you will be okay. I'm going to put it in awful, not never, because it does have a benefit in multiplayer where healing is much slower. Fast learner, must have. Can't play without fast learner, bro. I value my IRL time and speed over anything in Product Zomboid. Number one thing in Product Zomboid for me is going fast and quick. I value my IRL time and speed over anything in Product Zomboid. It's my number one goal. It's the number one way I play Zomboid, is to do Zomboid as fast as humanly possible. So this is a must-have trait, especially with how important the skills are in build 42. Fit. I'm going to put this in must-have. Now you might be saying to yourself, that's the weaker one. Why? And if you watched me before, then you know something definitely changed. This is why I said, don't listen to my build 41 video when I'm talking about build 42. Build 42 has huge problems with endurance. and you do need to at least fit the function as a proper character. There is no point in having tons of skills and positive traits if you're so slow, zombies can walk you down. Former Scout. I have been a pretty big fan of Former Scout for a long time. While the +1 first aid is absolutely worthless, don't make me crash out again, I enjoyed the +1 foraging and the +1 fishing a lot, since fishing levels are quite valuable at the moment. And for 6 points to get 1 foraging and 1 first aid, really solid. Angler isn't awful because it's 4 points for 1 fishing. This is literally like cheaper, right? Like this is a fantastic trade. Hiker. I'm going to put it in good. Now, you might be saying, why is Former Scout excellent at the end of excellent? Keep that in mind. But Hiker is at the top of good because I value the fishing slightly more than I value trapping. Simple as that. I think trapping's easier to level. Trapping's much more AFK, right? The foraging radius modifier is super good on this as well, and the reduction of darkness and weather effects on foraging is really good. So if you're going to do foraging in multiplayer, you must take this trait. It becomes like almost a must-have in multiplayer, but in single player, you can do like the speed up walk to foraging, and you can get foraging done very quickly. Keen hearing, never. Awful. Keen hearing is terrible trait. Garbage trait, even for 6 points. And the reason is that hard of hearing is the best negative trait in the game, maybe. So you can never take this. If you take keen hearing, your vision radius becomes so big behind you that you're never going to be able to do efficient FF speed up walk tos, right? In multiplayer, there's a little bit of an argument for this, but a very small one. Just look behind you, then you don't need it, right? Stout, slightly more important than fit. Similar to fit, I think at a minimum, you need this level of strength to function as a character without significant muscle strain, which is going to reduce your damage to absolutely nothing. This is a clear must take. I value it slightly over fit because of the +1 strength. Handy. I like handy. It's very good. Handy's a really good trait. I'm going to put it in okay though, because it's kind of just okay, right? With the removal of disassembly XP, the extra carpentry level and XP boost gives you a lot of extra recipes that you can use to level much more easily. Level 1 maintenance is also very nice since it unlocks so many new recipes and allows you to repair your weapons, which break much easier. The carving is a bit more meh since it's so easy to level. Masonry seems useless, I guess, but I could be wrong there. That depends on your playstyle a little bit. But it's a solid take. It's definitely a solid, okay take, right? Thin-skinned. This is a never take. I don't value this trait whatsoever. I mean, I play Product Zomboid literally naked. Like, my character has almost never worn clothes in Product Zomboid, and I don't plan to start wearing clothes. They slow you down and they weigh too much. It's basically a meme at this point with me and how I play Zomboid. But the guy in his underwear being the best speedrunner in the world is a trend I must continue. But to be serious, don't take this. It's bad. Let's talk about wilderness knowledge. I'm going to put it here in excellent. I'm going to be honest with you right now. I have had to repeat this trait like 10 times because it's very hard to explain why it is slightly better than Herbalist. It's double the points. 8 is a lot of points to budget, okay? But look at what you get with wilderness knowledge. 1 carving, 1 foraging, 1 napping, 1 maintenance. That is an insane amount of level 1 skills with XP boost that are very important skills as well from a single trait. It's insane. If you're going to do any crafting or any crafting speedruns, you must have this in Product Zomboid. Let's talk about Hunter. Hunter is really excellent in build 42. Now, why? I've been a Hunter for years, but with guns actually becoming the superior fighting option in build 42, minus pipe bombs, take pipe bombs out of the equation, they are actually the #1 way to fight in Product Zomboid right now. Hunter's even better than it used to be. I would consider possibly to go middle of the pack here. Yeah, possibly go middle of the pack here. Athletic. I think this is probably the craziest pick of mine at the moment, but I do think that right now you don't need max strength and fitness to play Product Zomboid. So let's talk about athletic. Athletics going in the bottom of good, which if you've ever seen me play Zomboid or watch my build 41 tier list, this is going to seem really crazy to you because I've always said I value max fitness and strength so much. And that's because it was important in build 41. The most efficient way to kill zombies was to use an axe. Now, shotguns were good, but you still needed max fitness and strength. In build 42, guns have gotten so much better that you actually don't even need max strength and fitness. You can just kill zombies with guns and pipe bombs. Easy, right? Now, I'm always putting strength over fitness because I slightly value the carrying capacity over the extra ability to run, because you can always just do fast rest in Product Zomboid, right? Where you sit down and you speed up time to the max, like 5x, right? And then you hit Shift W to stand up and you'll never have endurance issues again. Very nice trick. Well, I hope you enjoyed the build 42 positive traits list. If you did, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. We're very close to 500 subs, which I really hope we can hit with this video. The occupations tier list will be out much quicker than this one because it's much shorter. Big love. Bring her out.